Renueva tu estilo de otoño en JCPenney. Descubre grandes ofertas en modelos versátiles que puedes combinar con piezas tuyas, como un blazer y pantalón de pierna ancha Worthington con tu blusa favorita, o un suavecito suéter St. John's Bay con tu camiseta preferida. Y combina una chaqueta Stafford con uno de los clásicos en tu closet. Con un par de piezas versátiles puedes crear múltiples looks únicos y extraordinarios. Eleva tu estilo de otoño y ahorra. JCPenney. Vale la pena.
Listen up, Rupert Murdoch. If you strike Tucker Carlson down, he'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Yes, a nightly show on Fox was good, but now he's free to launch a podcast. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that wraps up all the best bits from my very real daily radio show into one easy-to-digest highlights package. I'm joined as ever by my producer, Martin. And what a show we have this week.
Oh, yes, indeed. We have Eshaan here for an ApologyWatch special, and we had a deep dive across the big pond talking about the 2024 presidential election.
But as ever, there was so much we couldn't include. We had a video games expert on to talk about Microsoft's takeover of Activision. But Martin didn't do his due diligence, and it turns out that they couldn't talk to me, probably because they weren't used to meeting women.
You'd be surprised how many people have a problem talking to women when the woman in question is Harriet.
Don't hate me because of my overwhelming femininity, Martin. We also had some in-depth reporting from the ground in Sudan, covering the terrible human tragedy that's unfolding there. But the listening numbers were terrible, so we're not going to put it here. It's just for the few people who were listening and the awards judges, it turns out.
Yes, you're very much getting the news the data proves you want to hear.
Now, next week, we're doing a coronation special. So if you have any questions for our royal correspondent, Nicola Witchell, about the coronation or the king, email noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. And if you have any questions about anything else, send those in and we'll be doing a Time for Questions special in a few weeks. But let's start with Apology Watch, a segment we introduced last week where Eshaan Akbar judges the week's public apologies and decides whether or not we accept them. And who knew that it'd be so useful so quickly?
Yes, 2 massive public apologies in 1 week. Dominic, Raab and Diane Abbott. And Eshaan had views on both of them. Let's take a listen.
I'm so not sorry that it's made me feel sorry for the not apology I'm sorry about. So I'm sorry not sorry that the not nature of the sorry isn't sorry enough, or not.
Eshaan Akbar, I'm very, very, very excited about today's Apology Watch, as there's been quite a few.
Yes, it seems as though every week more and more people are having reason to apologise, and apologise they are. This week, the singer Meghan Trainor, whose work I'm sure you're familiar with, Harriet.
Who?
The one who's
all about that bass. All about that bass.
All about that what?
All about that bass. About that bass.
Or title.
What?
You know? Hey DJ, the pop version. Like I'm gonna lose you. Harriet.
Yes.
Made you look.
What?
Mother. You know, and any one of those.
Any
Meghan
one of those
Trainor.
tracks.
No excuses.
Harriet, are you all
Just
about
got
that
paid.
bass?
What? No. What? No. Why?
Woman up.
Why would
Nice to meet you.
Why would I be all about what bass?
Kindly calm me
I
down.
feel like you're all about that bass.
What bass?
What a shame.
In any case, Meghan Trainor, she does a podcast with her brother, Ryan Trainor. It helps that they've got the same surname. That makes things easy, doesn't it? And the podcast is called Working on It. It's obviously not as good as Non-Censored, but nevertheless, people have to try.
Yeah.
And in a conversation about the school shootings in America, of which there are many, there are almost as many school shootings in America as there are apologies every week.
Yes.
She, in a conversation about school shootings, she was upset that America had earned a reputation among social media classes as though having kids in America is all about having a bulletproof backpack and making sure that your kids are able to use assault rifles. And she got very upset by this. And in the podcast, she is quoted as saying, F all that, F teachers, dude. And when she said F teachers, I think a lot of people felt as though she was attacking the wrong group. The wrong group of people were in her sights. They said, teachers are not the issue here. Why are you going after that? So Meghan then issued an apology saying, look, it wasn't all teachers I was talking about. I wasn't necessarily talking about teachers. Just some.
Hashtag not all teachers.
Yeah,
just a few bad apple teachers.
Exactly. There's always just a few bad apple teachers. So Meghan Trainor issued her apology saying, look, I'm sorry. That's not what I was going after. I was just fired up because we were talking about how sending your kid to school in America is so horrific.
Right.
Now, personally, if you criticize teachers, particularly in the context of school shootings in America, I think you're right. Now, our children are left with teachers.
Yes.
To protect them and nurture them. Really, if you are a good teacher, you wouldn't let kids get shot in your school, would you?
So really what you're advertising is for more sort of a kindergarten cop approach to American teaching.
Yeah.
With someone like Arnold Schwarzenegger comes to school, protects the kids from terrorists, incels, and angry fathers who are now criminals.
I enjoy the work of Arnold Schwarzenegger as much as the next man. But
yes,
it's going to slow down the training process if all of our teachers have to be able to sculpt a physique that is, an award-winning physique before they can even teach basic maths.
No, but Producer Martin, they should do it for the kids.
Well, this is it.
They should hit that gym for the kids.
That's sculpting the perfect physique. Teachers are trying to sculpt the perfect brain in our children, and that takes years. So if they're willing to administer that level of training on children, they should be willing to train themselves to get the perfect physique, the perfect aim to be able to protect children. And also, they say a good teacher makes a career. But I would tell you, the majority of teachers actually destroy hopes and dreams. Let me tell you, when I was 6 years old, right, I wanted to be an ambassador. That's what I wanted to be. That was my only dream. Not fireman, not policeman, ambassador. And Miss Dainton, she laughed at me. She laughed at me so hard. And do you know what happened? I gave up on my dream to become an ambassador. And here I am doing this podcast, looking at people apologising. Do you know who should apologise? Miss Dainton. Because Miss Dainton stopped me from being the High Commissioner to Bermuda. That was my dream job, the British High Commissioner to Bermuda.
That is very specific. Well, Miss
Dainton, if you're listening, please do write into noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Now, Eshaan, that's not been the only apology this week. Let's talk about someone that we know who they are.
Well, one of your favourite politicians, Harriet, you were quoted as saying, Diane Abbott.
What?
Remember we were playing that game, name your top 3 favourite black politicians, and then you said Diane Abbott. You said Desmond Tutu, who, he's not a politician. And then you said Simon from Blue.
Oh, right. Yes, okay. Yes.
And 2 of those are not politicians, but in any case.
I mean, Blue, sometimes their music it's like a protest song in a way.
Yeah, All Rise. It's about the justice system.
That's true. All rise. We must all rise. So Diane Abbott, an MP of many, many years standing, had a draft article published or leaked in which she suggested that the Jewish, Roma and Gypsy traveller people did not experience the same kind of racism as their black and brown counterparts. And of course, a lot of people read this and thought, well, hold on a minute. You're saying anti-Semitism isn't a form of racism when it 100% is. This is unacceptable. Therefore, you must resign. How dare you? And ultimately, she got suspended from the Labour Party. And Diane Abbott issued an apology to say, well, look, I'm sorry for the hurt cause. Of course, anti-Semitism is a form of racism. And I'm glad that she apologised.
Right.
Not because of the groups that she offended, but Diane Abbott has been an MP for many, many years, something like 75 years. And online, over half of the abuse aimed at MPs, over half of it is aimed specifically at Diane Abbott.
Yes.
And actually, given that she's faced over half the abuse aimed at MPs online, more than anybody else, I would say that she really knows and understands abuse, albeit it's directed on two particular characteristics, her gender and her race.
So she's a sort of connoisseur of racism.
Absolutely.
Like she could have a column, and just sort of write up about each week, sort of Jay Rayner type situation.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I don't think it would be a fun read, but we'd certainly learn something about the types of abuse going on.
Exactly. I mean, with Diane Abbott,
probably a bad idea. I'm backpedaling now.
To be fair, with Diane, we've come to expect not fun. I mean, I know she tried to drink a tinny on the tube to pretend she was fun, but
no, we weren't buying it.
We're not buying it.
I mean, I personally am just a big fan of any Labour politician having to apologise and no one accepting it.
Yes.
Okay.
So all in, I'm happy that she apologised because, well, frankly, all those people that have been giving her abuse over the years, they must be feeling pretty good about themselves, patting themselves on the back. Them and all these vaccine deniers, right now they're having a moment. They're like, hey, it's all coming home to roost. And in the Venn diagram of the people that have gone after Diane Abbott and anti-vaxxers, the middle bit is pretty big. This is a moment.
Good day for trolls. Good day for trolls everywhere.
Good day for you.
And they deserve it. Oh,
they
wonderful.
do.
Well, I'm glad the story had a happy ending. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this one, I am very excited. I have lots of opinions, and that is Dominic Raab. So, Eshaan, tell us about that.
Well, as you know, Dominic Raab has been embroiled in a bullying scandal for what seems like many years, where many people have suggested that Dominic Raab is a bully, is aggressive, and has tremendously bad manners around people. And a recent report found that he was, and he subsequently resigned because of this report. And in his resignation, he said, look, I'm leaving, but this is what you want from your ministers. Everyone's a bit of a wet blanket. And do you know what? I respect him.
Yes, I do too.
Listen, if you're going to apologise, but go down fighting.
Yes.
And if anything, my respect for Dominic Raab increased.
Yes, because he did a classic sorry, not sorry apology. And I think, we're really in danger at the moment from these civil servants. Their wokey little emotions are taking over the government. Who knows? Who knows what they'll cry about next? Who knows who's safe?
The thing about the civil servants, number one, they're behaving in a very uncivil way. And I don't know if they understand the second word, servants. All right?
Yes.
You're not meant to be spoken to with respect.
No.
That's the whole point.
No.
You're a servant.
You're a servant. Just true. And also, civil servants are supposed to be impartial. And impartial can mean lots of things. And it's also being impartial about how people treat you.
Yes.
If people want to throw tomatoes at your head, you take the hit impartially.
Exactly. You're a
servant. You should just throw tomatoes at people.
Suck it up, civil servants.
Get the job where you're not called servant.
And everyone knows that if you're going to get all upset about someone terrorising you, then you are a member of the woke left. Okay, it's a political act. It's a political act to cry and moan about someone mistreating you.
Well,
bunch of lefties.
I
burn them to the ground, I say. Burn them to the ground.
That's an extreme view. I'll just type up an apology for that, actually. Might as well get a head start on that.
Martin, what do you think? Because some people have written to me and said, sometimes it feels like you're, quote unquote, bullying Martin. I'm like, no, bullying Martin. He's just a little soft, wet blanket.
I suppose it could be, when you balance all of the things that you've said and done, I suppose you could put together a pretty compelling argument for the fact that there is a degree of taunting and it's a threatening environment to work in.
I don't taunt you. If you turn up with beach blonde hair, it's not me taunting you. It's you taunting yourself. In fact, it's you provoking me to say something. It's a provocation.
Yes. It's a political statement in a way, I suppose.
Yes. That's typically civil servants. They don't understand.
No.
What did they do?
No, they don't.
How do we know that they didn't provoke Dominic Raab into getting enraged. How do we know that they didn't keep insisting to Dominic Raab, oh, the English Channel is actually a major trade route for us?
Yes.
Now, if you keep hammering that home to someone, they're going to get upset.
Completely.
I don't know if this is relevant or not, but he does look like an angry PE teacher, doesn't he?
Yes, a sexy angry PE teacher.
And do you know what? There's the difference. Now, if you said that to Dominic Raab, he'd say, do you know what? Thank you. I do look like a sexy angry PE teacher. But one of these wet civil servants, if you said that to them, they'll be like, oh, boo-hoo. I wasn't even good at PE. That's why I'm a civil servant. If I was good at PE, I'd be doing something else.
They probably wouldn't even admire his throbbing vein.
Well, exactly. I think he looks like a PE teacher that's been forced to teach a little bit of, geography or something. And he's not happy because he doesn't really know what he's doing.
Dominic Raab gets me hard.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, well, I think on that note. Now, listen, before we end Apology Watch, I want to hear everyone's favourite apology of the week. Producer Martin, what was your favourite apology?
Out of the ones we've covered or the ones that we haven't covered, because there's so many apologies going on.
Well, it can be the ones we covered or another one if you want.
Well, I'm
just keep
actually
it short.
Drafting a brand new apology for us, just to apologise to anyone that might have been offended.
Oh, wonderful. Well, brilliant. That's Producer Martin's apology of the week. Eshaan, what's your favourite?
My favourite apology of the week is Rishi Sunak not apologising for slavery in the past by saying we shouldn't be unpicking history.
Yes.
Because the one thing about history, it is not there to be unpicked.
True.
Right.
That's the thing about history. Let's not look at it too much. Okay, let's focus on the things like the war. Well, thank you guys. My apology was Dominic Raab's. I just thought, wonderful. That's the kind of apology that I hope that I give one day.
I'm so not sorry that it's made me feel sorry for the not apology I'm sorry about. So I'm sorry not sorry that the not nature of the sorry isn't sorry enough, or not.
Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage, and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, Joe Biden announced his bid for re-election this week, which means the US news networks now have something to talk about for the next 2 years.
Yes, it's good that they can fill time before they start speculating on the 2026 midterms and the 2028 general election.
And because we believe in fair and balanced debate here on Non-Censored, we invited 2 guests on, one from each of the 2 available viewpoints. Rebecca Maddox from the Democratic-leaning Oh My Pod Congress, What Do You Like? podcast, and Fox News' Tom Bantam. Let's take a listen. Tom Bantam, Rebecca Maddox, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me back on.
Joe Biden has formally announced that he will be running again for president in 2024. And then we also do have Donald Trump, who is also formally going to run again for president, fighting the good fight. Now, Rebecca, let's start with you. Now, you are a Democrat activist. Do we really think Biden's up to the job? I mean, he's a bit old, isn't he?
Oh, I mean, if we're going to go by that rule, then should Jimmy Carter not run for president? Because he's significantly older and he's not running for president. He's 99 this year. So ultimately, I think what we have is a great, fresh candidate in Joe Biden, who people trust, people like him, and the Trump campaign won't like this, but let's go, Brandon. I can have a sense of humor about this.
Right. Okay. Well, Tom, what do you say about that?
Well, I mean, 80 years old is too old to be president. I think that's clear. I think we need a fresh pair of eyes, and we have a fresh pair of eyes in Donald Trump. He's 4 years younger. He's still under that cutoff point of 80. And I think he really started to make America great again. So he's going to make it great again. And I think it's, Biden's being controlled. Of course he's coming again because there's the political establishment are using him as a puppet. So of course he's back.
Rebecca, Tom, you have to admit, has a good point there. I mean, he does look like he's an old man, easily controlled, where Trump has got this sort of vibrant hair and this vivid complexion, which screams, no one will control me.
Well, if anything, Biden is out of control. He is out of control, but in a good way. His policies that are blowing minds all across the nation have been blowing minds all across the nation during his presidency, and that is going to continue if he runs against Donald Trump, which it looks like it's a rematch. Bring it on.
Policies.
I feel I just do need to interject at this point. I mean, we've been doing a lot of talking about the age of the two candidates here. I should flag up, there's only 4 years in it. Biden was born in 42, Trump in 46. And I've actually got
presidential term.
Got a short list of, some of the things that happened in the years they were born. You might be quite interested to hear. In 1942, the year that Biden was born, Jimi Hendrix was born. So is he old? Jimi Hendrix still pretty cool.
Well, he's also dead. I mean, the man died. So that's how old Jimi Hendrix is.
Paul McCartney, Harrison Ford, still Indiana Jones, got a film coming out. So
look, I think we can all agree the later Indiana Jones films are the best. That's fine. But Harrison Ford is a different guy. He's more Trump than he is Biden.
No, that's not true.
Atom bombs are still pretty effective. They were made in 1942. Whereas in 1946, do you know what was invented? I'll tell you, it was Tupperware and Peter Sutcliffe.
Oh, is that it?
I mean, Cher was also born in that time, and the Nuremberg trial started. Listen, I don't really know what I'm trying to say here, but the point is...
That's clear.
If you're mainly arguing about the age of the candidates, I think we're on a losing battle, and I do think we need to move on to policy. I mean, have we thought about who's keeping children in cages? Is that a good idea? Is that a bad idea?
Oh, well, I think we all know who's keeping children in cages. It was well covered from 2016 to 2020, so take it away, Tom. Mm-hmm. If that's something you're willing to talk about, then we can talk about how a certain gentleman kept children in cages during that time.
Well, he didn't personally keep children in cages. I've been to the man's house. He doesn't have any cages. Well, he doesn't have any children in cages. Look, are you trying to tell me that this is not happening under the Biden regime?
Well, it's interesting you should say that.
Is that what you're saying?
That's a very, very poor line of attack, Tom, because we have more children in cages than Trump ever managed. So, checkmate.
Oh, right.
And let me tell you, those children are fed 3 times a day.
And how much is that costing the state?
The right amount.
It sounds to me like the left amount. You see, this is what these people do. We were criticized for keeping dangerous children in cages, and now they're doing the same thing, but now it's a positive, right? So they spin it. It's all spin and lies.
Yes.
And all we're trying to do is make America great again.
Well, that to me is a very strong argument. Not about the cages thing, which I'm a bit confused by, but the make America great again.
Cages are rooms, but made of metal with gaps in them that you can lock.
Right, thanks.
And
thanks,
children
Tom.
are inside.
Yeah.
Whereas the cages that
situation.
we're keeping the children in, we make sure there's a pillow, a blanket, and, as I've already said, 3 meals a day. And the Trump campaign does not want to talk about that. And may I say that his name is not Donald Trump, it's Donald Drumpf. We all saw that devastating John Oliver piece, and it resonated.
Oh, Tom.
They changed the name. It
is certainly...
That was quite a blow, actually.
Just to bring it back onto the topic of policies, I mean, are there any positive, policies that are being led with by the Republican or Democratic campaign?
Exclusively.
If we were to focus on the good things.
Trump is exclusively bringing positive policy. Yeah.
Okay, it's just a big yes.
Well, from our campaign, we run on the fact that you don't need to crow about policies, of which we have very many, if you've got gotchas. And we have many of those. I've done a few already.
We have more more policies. And this is the thing, may we go back to the name thing, because this is the kind of thing that on the left, they won't let people, conservatives, comedians, make jokes about anything. And then on the left, we have people making jokes about immigrants changing their names. So there's a big hypocrisy there.
Yeah. Well, actually,
this man is a self-made man. He became president, the 45th and the 47th president of the United States, all on his own. And you're making fun of him? Why?
He's the embodiment of the American dream, isn't he?
Precisely.
Worked his way up from very little.
I mean, I should flag up that he was actually the heir to a multi-million-pound empire.
Yes, but only a little one, Martin.
He started from the bottom.
Yes.
His bottom had, an endorsement behind it, but he started from the bottom, and now he's where he is.
Yeah.
And he was bailed out by.
And we all got to start somewhere.
He's been bankrupt.
Okay, Rebecca, but that's what he's overcome, hasn't he?
But,
I mean, that's what I like about Donald Trump is he's overcome so much. He's overcome bankruptcy and having to be bailed out and ridicule, and he's overcome all of that.
Yeah, being attacked by porn stars.
Yes,
all of these things.
Well, I mean,
after he paid them money to not attack him.
I mean,
not to take a side
what's Biden
here.
Gone through? Absolutely nothing.
Well,
he's an easy ride.
No, I can tell you
him.
something. Biden, if you want to know the truth about him, check out the reception he got in Ireland. Check it out, because that's a huge deal, and the optics on that were very good.
Well, can I just say, Rebecca, do you know who else is going to Ireland soon? Donald Trump.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and
he's going to look at his golf courses,
and I imagine
then we'll see.
Donald Trump will not hang out with terrorist leaders of the era.
No, he'll just hang out with nice Irish golfers.
Yeah,
well, I feel
I've got
and I
to
think the optics for that will be very good.
At least do a little bit of backpedaling when we're talking about terrorist leaders. But there is you're not comfortable with the term terrorist? You've got to remember you are in the US and we are a British-based station, and the Troubles weren't all that long ago. But you make
that Jerry McAdams guy seems like that's what the news is over here. He's a terrorist.
Well, we're just all friends here since '98. We're all friends here, and there's no problem.
Back when Joe Biden was 75.
No, that's not true. He was even Jimmy Carter, who is not running for president. If we're talking about people being too old, he is not. He wasn't even 75 then. So you've just lied again.
Yeah, we're still a little bit edgy around that subject. But I tell you what, we all enjoy a pint of Guinness, whatever religion you are. Yes. Anyway,
Yes.
See, Rebecca got that.
It's funny. It's funny. We can do jokes.
Fun for both sides.
Let's have a look at some of the other candidates. I'm really interested in DeSantis. So, Rebecca, are you nervous about him? Do you think he could be another contender?
No, we don't do nerves in this party because we're going to win. And he is not declared as a candidate. And you know why? It's because of all that pudding. We all heard about that. All of the eating pudding with this 3 fingers. That doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for him, does it? So no worries here. We're definitely going to win. And he's not a problem. No way.
Rebecca, what was you talking about?
He ate pudding with 3 fingers. We can have a sense of humor about that in this party. Okay. It's a problem he has that he doesn't, but we do, and he's not a threat at all.
I don't
Neither
think
is Donald
eating
Trump.
Pudding with your fingers is a problem. Eccentric behavior and looking at the world differently and saving cutlery. This is a good man. He's a good man. He's a good governor of Florida.
If you want to talk about environmental activism, then I think you're going to fall flat with your only candidate running currently, who you have no problem with defending. You've come on here and you've defended him, and you have no problem with that.
Oh, I'm just leaving cutlery for other people. It's a new way of eating stuff. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to subscribe to the climate conspiracy. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to say that Ron DeSantis he's a good man. He's doing a great job. I don't necessarily think he should put himself up there against Trump, but if he does, he's a good man. good man with smart ideas.
Oh,
I think
you like
Rebecca
him now.
does raise a very interesting point. Certainly between US and UK politics, I mean, it might not be a big deal over there eating pudding with 3 fingers, but over here we got rid of an entire political career just because a man ate a bacon sandwich.
Yes, as should be.
So I think it would hit slightly different over here, maybe because we're the home of etiquette. We have more knives and forks than any other country in the world. I can see why
That's
people
not true.
get
We
upset
have the
with
most
that.
cutlery of any country in the world.
But producer Martin's
just-
right. I mean, I think there is here in the UK, this is something we have trouble getting over because, I mean, both Miliband brothers, actually, one ate a bacon sandwich, the other stared at a banana in a very bizarre fashion, both which are really sort of etched in the memory.
I just want to say that I think it's important for voters to know that every single detained by ICE child under Biden's presidency is offered a spoon with their pudding.
That is...
And that will continue
I
under his
suppose.
next term. That's a promise.
Well, so we've got one policy, yeah. So what I want to know is, if Joe Biden wins,
when?
then who will be the nominee in 2028?
Oh, that's a great question. So we are already looking ahead to that, obviously. Hey, give the public what they want. It's Michelle Obama. Or Tom Hanks.
Brilliant.
That'd be cool.
Right.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
Oh, do you know what? Even though I think Trump is wonderful, but Tom Hanks, yes, please.
One
Yes.
of our-
And he could
one of
do a
our
little
team,
dance,
you know.
couldn't he, from Big?
Taylor Swift.
Well, I don't know if we should have one of the Hollywood elite stepping into the hallowed ground of the presidency. I don't think that's a wise idea.
Donald Trump is one of the Hollywood elite. We've all seen him in Home Alone 2. Checkmate.
That is a
Which he was
businessman being
he was
invited
very
in
good in
because
there,
of his
Tom.
business prowess. That is the best scene in Home Alone 2. I
It's
would
really
say.
good.
I
You
often only
believe
watch
it.
that bit. You do.
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
he really knows. He knows
Where to
how to
go.
direct this child. He's honest. He's a good communicator with children, and that's
Yes.
that's why I think 2028 Trump again. The man is owed a term. The election was taken from him, so he's owed 4 years. He's going to get 4 years on his own. That's 8 years. That's great. If Biden at 80 can do it, fine. Trump for the next 8 to 16 years, I would say.
But Tom, if Trump went again, then he would be significantly older.
82.
He'd be as old as Biden. Yeah, he'd be older than Biden is now. And
But he'd have more experience in office, and he's got the right people around him, to
Right.
keep him in check and to drive it forward. And
Yes.
he's going to make America great again.
oh,
again.
yes, of course he is. See, every time I'm starting to doubt it, you say that, and I
Yeah.
think, oh,
That's
of
what
course
he's going to
going
do.
to make
And
America great again.
in the first 4 years, he made it significantly greater. His next 4 years, he'll make it so greater that actually it won't matter anymore that he's older than Biden is now, because it will be so great that the greatness will only increase exponentially.
Do you think we could just get him in there and then he could just stay there like like a nice dictator, like
No,
a good one?
I wouldn't necessarily use that word. I use the word, like a fearless leader or something like
yes.
that. But if he is there, he's a trusted man. He's strong. He's good, and the people should have a choice. But we've seen how that goes.
Yes, people really don't know, do they?
Right.
I mean,
No,
this
It's
is
sounding
the thing.
quite anti-democratic.
He lost the popular vote two times. Is he trying to make it a hat trick of losing the popular vote?
We don't know that those votes are all counted correctly. I mean, this is a
We
huge
do.
issue.
We do know this. We do know this.
We don't know that. We do not know that. Have you counted the votes yourself?
No, I
Well,
haven't.
listen, Tom, we have to be careful here because a non-censored can't afford any legal
No,
complications
we
on this.
please do not want any more. Even just a strongly worded email would be enough to push me over the edge at this point, I think.
Well, look, if you're going to back down on journalistic integrity, that's your choice.
No, I would never do that.
Well, then I
would
think serious
never do
questions
that.
need to be asked about elections and how the votes are counted and
Yes.
how many votes were for Trump, because I know only people who voted for him.
Rebecca, I'd like to say, I'm sorry, Biden's there illegally, and Trump should stay on forever.
No,
Yeah.
hang on. What?
I said it.
Wow.
Yep. You can't just
Yep.
say it.
That's-
I have.
Thank you. I think we've won the debate.
No.
let's make America great again. Rebecca, thank you for your efforts. You tried, but you lost. Tom, thank you very much. Well, that's it for this week. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and keep those questions coming to noncensoredpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Suze Kempner, Will C. Bagmontefiore, and Ed Morrish. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and we'll be back next week with more Non-Censored.